This is the KTactical Katana. KTactical is a company that makes tactical gear parallel to the gun industry, making accessories and such, kydex and other stuff. And they reached out to me on Instagram, I believe, and asked if I wanted to check out this knife. They sent me a couple pictures. Of course, I said yes. It looks up my alley. It's obviously quite tactical. It also has that Japanese look, that katana look, and I told them, yeah, I will. I'd love to take a look at it, and I'll give my honest opinion, because otherwise I can't. I don't see why they'd be reaching out to me, and so that's what I'm doing here. So thank you, all you folks at KTactical that sent me these knives. They actually sent me two, which was very nice. And but I find out. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So I really do appreciate it, and thanks for letting me check this out. And also, thanks for letting me give you my honest opinion. I think there is a lot to like here. There are also some things that will act as a barrier to entry to the hardcore knife market, and I'll point those out as well. But I have a feeling that some minor tweaks to this design could have all sorts of knife junkies jumping at this. So let me get into it. So let me tell you about what I find very positive about this. First of all, the design. To me, the design is really appealing. I love these kind of Japanese style knives where the long and slender blade fits 100% neatly within the profile of the handle. I just like that. So we start with the blade here. The blade is a tanto. It's very sharp, as you can see, and it's got a swedge. It's a pretty nice looking tanto. It's got a thumb stud for the best deployment that this knife has to offer is definitely with the thumb stud. I think the best way to flick it open is just to flick it open with your thumb. And you know what? I'm going to mix the good with the bad. I'm going to say it all together. And so let's start with the blade. Like I said, very sharp. It's got a nice grind, nice even grind. This polish, if you ask me, is too high. It's too high for a knife this cost. When a polish is this high on a knife, this knife is 27 bucks. And I think right now you can get it for 25 bucks. And if I'm reading this correctly, you get two of them for 25 bucks. So what I'm getting at is this polish might actually be more work than it's worth. I see this polish on a knife that I know is not $1,000, and I become suspicious of the steel. So I would say you don't need to polish it like this. I would say you could tumble this, and it would be very fitting for the tactical style of knife that it is. But also it would or blast it, and it would be more, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I don't want to see a polish this high on a knife that isn't exquisitely expensive. That's just me. Maybe that's just me. But it is very sharp. And I come to find out that there's good reason to be suspicious of the steel because it is a 3CR13 steel. And to me, that's nothing to boast about. 8CR13 MOV is just kind of at the low end of acceptable these days, kind of always has been for a long time. But it is a decent budget steel, and I've had many 8CR13 MOV knives and used them and had them for a long time and stropped them and resharpened them. And it's, unless you're picking nits and really going down the knife snobbery hole, it is a perfectly serviceable steel. I would say 3CR13, this has dulled very quickly, but, and the only thing I've done with this is cut cardboard, shipping cardboard, because I've had a lot coming in. And I think there might be some schmutz still on the back, but it does wipe off this polish easily. But in any case, it cuts the cardboard well, don't get me wrong. It's ground very nicely, and it's a hollow grind here, so it slips, and actually the polish aids in it, I would imagine, in how it slips through the material. It seemed to go through really nicely, but it dulled so quickly. So I had to have that strop next to me and keep stropping it, but really only a couple of licks across the strop and it's back to very sharp. So it's kind of a trade-off there. You know, really easy sharpening for somewhat quick dulling. That's what you get from 3 CR13. And I'm assuming the MOV should be tacked on there, but it isn't on their website. This is a 3 1/4 inch blade here. And it's like I said, it's a nice size. It's a nice shape. It's ground really well. I would like to see the polish knocked off. And then the other thing I'd like to see knocked off of this blade is this flipper tab, because this does not act as a flipper. That's what you get. Let's see, I'm going to really store up some energy and then try and flip it out without any wrist. Almost. But really, it's a flipper. I guess if you peck at it like that, you can get it to flip out. You can. One of the things they boast on the website is that there is no assisted opener. And I like that. It means that they're thinking about it and they're headed in the right direction. Because, you know, you would much rather have the luxurious feel of bearings or washers without the need for a spring assist most of the time. Sometimes, like on the off-grid spring assist, it's actually fun. It's like a feature, not a bug. So they do boast that this is not a spring-assisted knife, but the detent is such that you can't really, unless you really pull on it with gusto, you can't really get that to come out without some wrist. And you know, that's fine. That was fine for years. But you know, if you are really looking to penetrate the knife market deeply, it seems like you should just get rid of the flipper tab, because you have awesome action with just the thumb stud. And a lot of people are just thumb stud people. A lot of people are sick of seeing flipper tabs. The other thing about this flipper tab is the only good excuse for not having good flipping action with a flipper tab is if it's longer and actually acts as a finger guard on a thrust. This, you know, that's not stopping. If you've got a lot of force, a lot of momentum behind a thrust, and you actually need a guard there to stop your hand from sliding up, when this is a very neutral handle, you'll need something bigger than that. So this flipper tab doesn't work well as a flipper tab. It also doesn't work well as a finger guard. So I say just lose it, you know, on the next iteration. And it would even be a cleaner design, I think, would look cool. Flipper tab is excellent. It stands really nicely. It's like, I should say, perfectly proud of the G10 and carbon fiber laminate scale there, so that you can very easily access it. But it doesn't, you know, it doesn't get in the way. It's not hugely tall. It is a very nice thumb stud, good positioning, flicks open well. I like this axis point there. And then as we come down, this is anodized aluminum, this bolster, a nice little touch, I gotta say. And then, as I mentioned, this is carbon fiber laminated G10, kind of like Spyderco uses, and I think Ontario uses. And then it's milled in this cool way that it has that Tsukimaki style, looks like the cord wrap on a katana, just sort of stylized and abstracted. Really cool. I think it's a cool looking handle. Now let me tell you, when I gave this to my brother, so those of us who are real knife aficionados, we already see our problems with it, but I showed it to my brother, who has a lot of sweet knives, but is not necessarily an aficionado. He loved this knife. Actually, I'm going to give him this second one now that I'm almost done with the review, or with the close-up video of this. I'm going to send that to him, but so it is very appealing in a lot of ways, but let me move on. So I really like the milling and the handle. I love the neutral shape. I just did a show on the benefits of neutral shaped handles. So I love a neutrally shaped handle. Also, I love this. I love an angle. My thumb loves that kind of angle, that on the pommel of a knife. I have a lot of good examples. Here's a good example. This is brand new, so it's right out in front, but look, that thumb, it's a perfect place to hook your thumb. So, you know, people laugh when you talk about holding a knife in reverse grip. Oh yeah, you think you're a ninja. Well, you might have legitimate non-violent reasons for holding a knife like this, and for needing to not slide onto the blade with your fist. And no matter how hard you grip like this, with a small guard like that, there is a good possibility, even though this is all very grippy, that you slide down in there, depending on how much force, how hard the thing is that you're pounding into. So if you have your thumb capped over there, it makes it much more difficult to slide on. That's why I love this shaped handle. Sometimes you'll see like a glass breaker there or something. To me, that's always like kind of a buzzkill. Like on the Microtex, on the Ultratex, there's that big glass breaker, kind of a buzzkill. However, they do have a big clip on the side, and I find it comfortable to wrap my thumb around the clip. So anyway, love the shape of the handle. I really like the milling. I'm never too into the color gold on anything. I don't even care for like a gold Rolex, for instance. Or what I would do is I would take that gold Rolex and sell it and take the money from it to buy a different Rolex. I've never been too crazy about the color gold on things. So I recognize this as a really nice touch. For my personal taste, it'd be cool to see that like anodized purple or anodized silver, you know, just, I don't know, anodized some different colors. I know they do this in red, which is a cool thing if you're into that, the anodizing. But I like that there's a bolster, but also that you still have access to the pivot. So we were down here, ambidextrous thumb clip. What am I talking about? Pocket clip. It's a deep carry pocket clip. Looks like something you might see on a Kershaw or something. Nice clip. Leaves just a titch of that blade of that handle out, which I prefer. I don't like it 100% deeply buried. Actually, that's not 100% true. Some knives I do. You do get the screws protruding. Whoops, sorry. You do get the screws protruding up in the clip there. But that hasn't been a problem. I mean, I've been carrying this a little bit, but I've been carrying it in thin shorts. It's the end of the summer here, and that hasn't been a problem. Maybe in thicker pants, but we'll see. This extra post down here, oh, no, here it is. There's the lanyard hole. For some reason, I was thinking you could tie, but you would have no reason to. All right. Let's see here. Over here, we can see how well centered it is. It's nicely centered. And this is on nylon washers here. So it's cool to see that they have this all dialed in nicely with the nylon washers and then no play. I love nylon washers. I mean, I love them in my older Hinderers. I love them in some of my Emersons, and you know, they're legit. So this is a nice, the pivot is nice. I say you get rid of all sort of flipper ideas. Just get rid of the whole flipper idea. That way you won't have to retune the detent. You have a detent that's really nicely set up for a thumb stud. You can slow roll it. You can flick it. You know, it's really nicely set up for that. So that's what I would do. On the next batch of these, just tell them, hey, knock that off there, and it'd be even cooler. The liners are too shiny for my taste. And I'm not just talking tactically, of course. I just mean, again, I don't trust shiny on an inexpensive object. So to me, I see that and I'm like, I'd rather see it a little more factory. I'm not saying unfinished. You know, to get this high polish, you definitely have to finish the knife. I am saying, though, less of a fancy look on an inexpensive knife. But again, that's a matter of taste, and I am picking nits a little bit here. All right, so let me show this with a couple of other tantos. Now these are, I'll show you with a couple of things. Here is an inexpensive knife about the same cost. This is the Les George designed, what's this called? Weston. I always remember it's a hotel. It's a hotel. Weston. Really nice knife for the cost for sure. Very stout. Light steel frame lock assisted. It's a Kershaw, deep carry pocket clip, flush screws. It's got a lot of the, you know, but this one offers all of this for the same price with 8 CR13, which is a superior steel, but still inexpensive. So I'm just saying, that's why I brought that up. Here's another knife at that cost. This was the Tangram Santa Fe. I love this knife. I mean, of all my knives, this is in, you know, This is one that I really, really like, and even when it's compared to some of the more luxury items I have, really like this knife. I think this was just a magical coming together with this thing. Here it is with the Riot K2. So the other knives I show it with are pretty much going to be way, way, way more expensive, but just also nice looking tantos. If I didn't say this enough, I think this is a very nice looking tanto, and I do like how it evokes the katana, especially with the handle and the blade. I say get rid of that flipper and you're way ahead. Get rid of the flipper and change the steel, and you could charge that and only send them one, you know? When I was looking at it on eBay, you buy those on eBay. When you go to the KTactical site and you look at their knives, they have a couple of other interesting ones too. But it sends you to eBay, and the last feature, they list all the features of this knife. The last feature says, comes with 1X knife, like one extra knife, and that's how this one came. So for 25 bucks, you're getting 2 of these, and that is a great deal. Especially for someone brand new to knives, or maybe it's 2 buddies who want to get a knife. They're going camping. They want to get a knife that they're going to thrash on, in addition to the other knives they have with them or something. I don't know. It's just an inexpensive, good-looking tanto you can buy. Here it is with the with my brand new Chris Reeve Unums on, brand new to me. Really awesome knife. Got it from Blade Freak. Thank you, sir. And but another tanto shape that I love. I love this sort of swedge on tantos. I don't have too many. This is a nice swedge on this tanto. And then one more, and that is a tanto on loan from Blade Freak, the gentleman I bought this from. This is another pretty Japanesey kind of knife. This is the Jake Hoback Knives Quayback, famous knife, really cool knife. Obviously, these, this is one extreme and this is the other. But I just wanted to show them with interesting and cool tanto blade shapes. And I think that these are all interesting and cool. For what that's worth, interesting and cool. All right, so the KTactical Katana has a lot to love. I think the shape, I think the looks, if you're into, obviously tactical knives with a Japanese bent, I think it looks great. I think it's a very, very good starting point. I know these things work in batches, and the next batch you do, there are a couple of things you could do. Might make the knife slightly more expensive to make, but you'll be able to sell them one at a time and charge more. And I'm talking about 8 CR13 MOV, or you go up to D2 or something, and knock down the polish a little bit. I know, I get it. You're referencing the katana swords, and they are always highly polished, and that's part of why they cut so well. I understand all that, but I'm just talking about things that might make you more appealing to people who spend a lot of money, and oftentimes a lot of money they don't even have, on knives, because we're so into them and so addicted to having different versions of them. And I think this could be a great knife junkie style knife with some tweakage, but really, really appreciate your sending this along to me, and I use it and I appreciate it. This does sit on my desk. I have a bunch of knives on my desk, as you may imagine, but this is one that gets picked up and used with some frequency. I wanted to get a sense. I wanted to get the cut of its jib, if you will, and see there, I could open it. It's not all for naught, but it takes too much work with how flippers are these days. You just look at them and they whoosh, fly open, no wrist. This feels like it takes more work because we are lazy and spoiled, or I am lazy and spoiled. Look at that. So nicely done, and there's room for improvement, but I think it's if you're interested in the knife market at large, couple things you can do to change it, but I think it's a cool design, as does my brother. And well, thanks for sending it to me, KTactical. This is the KTactical Katana. You can go to KTactical.com and check out all the stuff that they have: holsters, kydex stuff, little shooting trinkets, etc. All right, thanks for watching.